Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Google Pixel 5 and see how this phone holds up in the middle part of 2023. Now what I will definitely tell you is there are lots of pros and lots of cons for buying a phone like this, but I like the Pixel series. I think Google's done a really good job with these phones, and the Pixel 5 was kind of the time where they actually started making a turn for the better. Now on the outside of the Pixel 5, we are getting that 6-inch OLED display, and it's a pretty decent display coming from the Pixel 4 and the 4 XL. I think this was a really decent improvement. It was a hole punch display, so the hole punch was in the top left corner. And this phone honestly still looks very good. It's still a very decent looking phone for sure. It was a 90Hz panel too, so they did stem that from the Pixel 4, and overall still a very good looking display. It wasn't a perfect looking phone, but it came out in 2020, like almost 3 years ago, so I do think this thing still looked pretty good at that time. Now we were getting USB Type-C on the bottom, which was always really nice, and on the back we were getting this kind of like aluminum back. I didn't really like the feeling of this phone in my opinion. I feel like they should have put glass on the back, or even done like that plastic hybrid that they did on like the Galaxy or the Google Pixel 7a and the Pixel 6a. But I understand at this time they had to do what they had to do, but that was just one thing that kind of stood out to me when I actually was using this phone at that time. We were getting that dual camera setup on the back. We were getting things like wireless charging on this phone too, and we were actually getting reverse wired charging, which was very surprising on this phone too. And that was it. It was a very good, decent phone, IP certification as well. It wasn't a flagship, but it really wasn't competing with the flagship at the time either, so it wasn't that big of a deal in my opinion. Now in terms of the camera, we were getting that wide and that ultra wide lens. So we were getting 1080p at 30 on the front, and we were getting 4K at 60 on the back. And this type of camera, like I mentioned before, it was a very decent camera sensor. You were able to go ahead and take photos and videos and those types of things, which was honestly very nice. And with this type of phone, you were still getting a very decent type of lens. Now, it's not a perfect lens. I think there's definitely problems with it sometimes, but I do think for the most part, Google did a good job with this type of device. And I think that kind of stuff stands out to me as being a pretty decent performing camera over time. So again, just one of those things to keep in mind in the back of your head. And it was something that I personally did like when I actually owned a phone like this at that moment. So that kind of covers it up there. Software wise, this phone is going to be lasting for quite a bit of time as well. So it's going to be pretty much, being supported today, or it's going to be, it's still going to be getting kind of software support. But I think Android 14 may end up being the last version of Android that it gets. The Pixel 4 has just ended up getting drop support. So I'm pretty sure the Pixel 7a, the Pixel 6, Pixel 5, so on and so forth. The Pixel 5 is probably going to be the last one supported right now. So it is one of those other things to keep in mind. And it's just one of those things to kind of keep in the mind in the back of your head as of this moment. So that kind of covers it up there. Now, on the performance side, this thing had that Qualcomm Snapdragon 765G chipset inside with 8GB of RAM. And with this type of device, like I mentioned before, very decent performing device. I mean, this is a very, very good performing phone. And that was something that I actually did like in this specific situation. It's not perfect, but I do think Google did a good job here. And if you're doing slight applications or big applications, this thing's still going to be able to handle it for the most part, but it's not going to be like the biggest, best performing phone of all time. It's going to be very, very basic, but it is something that I actually do like here. And it's just, it's a good performing phone when it comes down to it. So to kind of sum it up, what I'll definitely tell you is this is a very, very decent phone for the price. If you're willing to go up to a Pixel 6 or Pixel 7, those are going to be better phones for sure. But this is still honestly a pretty decent device that I would probably recommend a majority of people to buy. So that pretty much covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.